I am constantly thinking about what kind of studio or home studio setup I would have if I could afford whatever I wanted. One of the first design decisions that comes to mind is whether or not to have the studio actually be attached or detached from my house. What do you think? If you could afford anything, would you have it attached to your house or detached? Let me know down in the comments. All right, so I just got back from Austin, Texas, and I got to check out this really awesome studio called Studio 601. Now get this, it's a detached home studio in a converted single stall garage. The level of creativity that I'm seeing put into these home studio setups is ridiculously inspiring. Thank you, Eric and Mike, for having me down to check out the studio. If you guys want to follow Studio 601, all of their links are right down below that like button. So after smashing it for the YouTube algorithm, make sure to hit that red subscribe button so you can see all of these new videos coming out in the next month, in the next year. It is starting to get pretty fun. I'm very excited. All right, let's go check out the studio.
Was this a... It seems like this was a garage.
Straight up like a one-car garage that is kind of nasty. Other than the exterior, you know, we painted this, we filled in the garage door. We were looking for a 3-bedroom house and we found this one and we found the property.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, because this is a 2-bedroom house, but I was like, that is a studio.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
We were here for a few years before I actually was able to start working on it, but I did most of the work myself. Got a few guys to help me. I did all the electrical, put in the cabinets. Had a guy help me vault the ceiling in there.
Wow.
And I had a guy kind of build me out a subfloor, but then I did all the flooring that wraps up. I built the shelves and built the, you know, the countertops are butcher block, but I put them together and everything. So I was looking at doing the room inside of a room thing.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I care that much.
Yeah.
If I want to lose the space or if I want to put in the extra cost.
Right.
And at the end of the day, we've never really heard anything in our recordings.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Our neighbors are cool. You can still hear drums out here, but it's not like drums. But it was just like, it was all, you know, a little bit of a compromise. And that was like, after I was in there, I was like, no, this is cool, this works.
Was this outdoor area always here like this?
No. This was, so I actually bartered labor with a musician named Charlie Murphy.
Oh, okay.
No relation to the RIP Charlie Murphy, but he's a great carpenter. And so my wife designed this deck. This was like, again, hadn't been updated since 1981, so it was just like trash out here. Like, I had another friend in my band. We did the patio over here together, just dug all that stuff out. Just a lot of manual labor. I helped him build this, but in turn traded them some studio days. And
yeah, man.
Yeah, you wanna go in?
Yeah, let's check it out.
Cool. So it was this level right here. Wow. So this, really? Yeah, it was here, and so all these the beams up here, they were down. And we actually did this inside. We vaulted it and was like, oh, you can do that. And basically it just collar ties is what they're called. You just raise them up and it adds the same structural support. So that was down here. There wasn't even ceiling, it was just the rafters. There wasn't even drywall and it was just like concrete. So this concrete comes out to about here. It goes this way. I built in the booth and it runs about right here. And so this area, this is kind of where drums are, and it's kind of cool because it has like it has a little bit of a resonance or a little bit of like a thing, and I think that's kind of cool. The wood ended up just being nice. I just wanted it to be like look like it's been here forever, and like I went and individually stained different ones and made it like a man for doing that, by the way. It made it and just like picked each one. Like I want this one next, and it took a while. It was just because, you know, it's still in my house. I'd be out here at night just like banging in, and I just used like it wasn't even a pneumatic nailer, but each one of these pieces, so it was really cheap wood, hand stained it, and then just picked them as I went all the way up here. And then so it's like, ooh, I like this piece of wood, you know, like this one's cool because of this, and then you're like, okay, I'm so over this. Once I'm over here, just like banging on here. And my wife's the designer. We connect on that stuff, on the aesthetic and like wanting it to feel really comfortable, but also we wanted the space to have a lot of different utilitarian purpose. Like it needs like, here's the lounge area, and all of our mic stands are in this thing. And that was like, we had another one, it's like, nah, that one's not right, it's not quite, so we found this, and it like fits like, I think there's 12 mic stands in it. So that can just go away. Then all these different drawers, like our trash is over here, it's just in this pull out. And you know, this is like coffee temp.
So you have essentially a full kitchen minus the sink.
Minus the sink. But yeah, it was like, let's get as much as we can in here, as much like, yeah, the kitchen area.
Really good use of the space.
It took us a while. We like sat there, and again, she does it professionally. She designs huge spaces and small, and it was like, what all can we fit in here and still make it feel as big as possible?
Yeah.
But as useful. And so I was like, where's the desk gonna go? We just talked about that for a while. Like, no, I don't want it over here because of the door. I don't want it over here because it seems like it's using too much space. So like, this has to be where it goes. Like, where's the ISO booth gonna go? And so a lot of thought went into that.
Really painted on this absorber.
Oh wow!
He's also a really
on the
talented painter.
canvas, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that guy too up there.
That's cool. That's the first time I've seen somebody do that. That's super smart.
So the paint is only where she painted. So this is just the fabric. It's 4-inch diffuser, and this is where the bass lives.
Yeah.
If you sit over here, you're in bass town. So that helps with that, and then the couch, you know, with some of that. And I didn't want to kill it. You know, because we're mixing in here, we're tracking in here.
Yeah.
I want to still have a little bit of liveness to it, but hit as many of the frequencies as you can. So those are 4-inch there, and then 4-inch there. Left the rest of it kind of open. Hoped the floor. As I'm doing this, I'm like, man, I hope this works. You know, vault the ceiling, try and get out the different parallel walls as much as I can. That like maybe all this stuff on the shelves will help with some diffusion.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
like just. And so the space has a cool sound. It sounds a little bigger than it is, but it's not. You don't hear any of those weird boxy frequencies. So that was a big part. It's like, all right, let's make it feel cool. I hope it sounds good. And this big wall. It's like, okay, big empty wall. Let's get as much absorption in there as we can. Drums usually live over here just because it feels good, but also it ended up sounding good. We've thrown them around a few different areas, but it's like that kind of seems where it's at. And then again, we're usually playing on most of the stuff we're doing now, working with different artists. So Mike's drums, I'm chilling over here, running, driving Pro Tools, but it just like works. We're here. I don't know. We can flip the space. Sometimes we empty out all the mic stands, flip that up. Maybe take a chair out, push that back, make the space wider.
Yeah.
So we did full string section in here, a four piece.
Yes.
We've done
Wow.
like a 6-piece band, and to where it feels kind of like a rehearsal space at that point. It feels tight. The band feels more comfortable, maybe because you're not like separated.
Right.
And then performance. But
That's great. You got listening spot, keys, drum zone, which this is exactly how I would do it because I love having sort of some absorption right behind the kit.
Yeah.
And then having all of the room and the space around it. Kitchen area, and then storage up top.
Yeah, that was like, let's make this a loft. And it just hasn't, it's just like, well, we need storage. So there's some matches there. It was like, this could be, I have a ladder that you can crawl up in there, but at this point, nobody's ever slept up there. It's just been storage at this point. So.
Yeah. Then you got the inside lounge, and then is that a booth over there?
Yeah, this is the old ISO booth. So we have amps, vocals, a couple channels running in here, a couple sends, headphone send. Yeah, let's boom. Yeah. New vintage, killer guitar amps. So we had a friend, guitar player, Kyle Samuel, hey Kyle, bring one of these in the studio, and we're like, that is great. And it's kind of like this one he built for us. It's like a maybe Princeton into the deluxe range. It's got a analog tremolo that's tap. So that
wow.
reverb in it, and this is a friend that passed his guitar amp that I got from his wife, or his cabinet. It's cool, sounds great.
This is it's a Wonder Audio CM7. I think it's the GS. They make them here in town. It sounds great on everything. We used it on cello a few days ago with the quartet. Amazing on vocals, obviously.
Yeah.
Super versatile.
So it's kind of like emulating or like some sort
It's
of.
a U47-ish thing. It's just super pristine, but it has that like, you know, that forward mid-range warmth that, you know, that U47
Yeah, man.
has. Yeah, awesome.
That's cool. What was the name of the company again?
Wonder Audio.
Wonder Audio.
Wunder.
Yeah. So we have, I guess we could go to Mic Town too. Now that we're talking about it. We have a lot of great mics, and this one is just like, it's like butter.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
we got our DI boxes, 421s.
Neumann KM184s.
Yep.
Royer's
Everybody
classic.
likes the 121.
Oh yeah.
This one is like, we haven't been using it for a while because we got a lot of really cool boutique mics, but this one, it's like when one doesn't work because something's not working, we pull the Bach Audio 195 out, and it's like, there it is. The fat
it has
switch
a
on it.
fat switch on it, and like if for vocalists that kind of need a little help in that range, but we 57s, i5s.
You said it's Bach, B-A-C-H,
B-O-C-K.
B-O-C-K.
David
Bach.
Bach makes them.
Oh
RD4s.
yeah.
They're so good on everything. So
Yeah.
like,
They're really good on vocals.
we've been doing on vocals,
Yeah.
yeah, especially if somebody's even a little harsh or just like we want to vibe, and running it through digitally patching from the analog to the EQP, the warm audio EQP, and just like giving it some top, carving out a little weird mudness, and then it's just more butter.
Stereo matched pair, 414s. Generally overheads or toms or.
Oh yeah.
I just like the
Okay.
case. Looks like you're gonna pull out a gun.
Put a bunch of money in there.
We're gonna murder somebody or record them.
Right. Or both.
U87.
Oh man, yes.
Neumann U87. This is a new one, right?
That is the new one. That's the AI.
That is.
What makes it different than the old one?
I don't remember.
Is it artificial intelligence?
Yeah. We got this from Warm Audio, and this is their 251.
If you don't know Warm Audio, amazing reproductions of mics for.
Very
it's
nice.
insane that what they charge. It blows my. The 251 is really
It's
great.
$7.99.
Really?
Sounds great.
Dude, look at those cases.
Yeah, these are cool. This one is the Perlman TM1, which is like another handmade
Yeah, we have like a few different.
47-y kind of thing.
You said Perlman?
Yeah.
Perlman.
David Perlman makes these, I think, in California.
TM1, yeah, it's got that just like cool mid-range stuff.
Very
To my it's similar to the CM7. This is, yeah, we've had this one. This was like a first kind of like.
One of the first big boy mics we got.
Yeah.
For the price point and to enter into something where this can compete with a $5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no brainer.
Dude, what a boss set of microphones you guys have.
And then we got.
I'm saying that's why having the partnership. Like I couldn't have done that what we have here in this space by myself. I mean, eventually, but Mike was able to bring in a lot of great gear, and so that's like our relationship works because it's just like another point of like where we kind of come together and coalesce into like Captain Planet as opposed to just being like a little nerdy kid.
So like, I guess you could say I have a problem, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, we all have
We've monetized the problem,
That's good, yeah.
so maybe it's not a problem.
if I have a gear bug, Mike has a gear tapeworm. That,
And it's not going anywhere. Yeah, the MIDI controller lives here. We got Native Instruments Contact and.
What controller is this? I've never seen this
This
before.
is the Impulse 61
Novation.
Novation. It's really awesome. The drum pads are great.
yeah, I mean, and then the sliders for organ.
And it's got the roll function if you want to make some sick trap beats.
Oh, nice.
So this is great. I mean, yeah, we have like all the Arturia Native Instrument stuff.
Cool.
And then keep going over here. So we got the
What-
old school Mac Pro, and then Pro Tools Native, UAD, and Octo card. We just got these
The barefoot.
Barefoot Footprint 01s.
Game changer though for mixed translation.
Yeah.
These
It's crazy.
the low end is also crazy, coming from no sub to, if you see they have subs on the side, so they act in tandem because there's another one on this side.
Yeah.
So they're pushing and pulling. And the low end and low mids are amazing, and you can really hear what's going on.
When
down
we
there.
put them on, we were like, that's too much.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it took a second. It took a
But
second
then
to get
you
it.
realize, like, Oh no, that's actually there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that, we just weren't hearing that before.
Yes.
So they're great. And then, I mean, all the gear slut people are like,
Oh yeah, that's right.
the meme thing is a gimmick. No, it's awesome.
That is awesome.
It's totally awesome.
So
It's really usable.
So
Bullshit
just
is
to
great.
explain that briefly for people who don't know
Yeah.
what that is.
So these have they call it meme technology, where things are happening in our culture and it makes funny pictures.
Thank you.
So yeah, I had to go there.
hey, I was we just glanced over the
We just
meme.
had to
You
go
nailed
there.
it though. Solid.
So it's able to model other pairs of speakers with a flick of a switch.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Just
So you get NS10s, you get mixed cubes, or tones.
it really feels like you kind of focus on different parts of the
Totally.
spectrum. So it's like you slip it to the mixed cubes that it's just like really small. You're hearing like what's gonna happen out of a phone basically, but without having we had Aventone mixed cubes in here, and once we got that, we're like,
Got rid of them.
don't need this anymore.
People at home, we bought a Bluetooth transmitter that is connected to, which we'll go over this in a minute, the alt send on here.
Oh yeah.
And there's a Bluetooth speaker in the back of the room, so you can like go over your passive listening, experience.
And that was the one thing, especially before we got the Barefoots, that I was hearing in some, just as we're going through our different mixes, and be like, it's not quite translating to this Bluetooth speaker. It's not summing to mono and like
Right.
how we're hearing it here.
Yeah.
And it was like, I want to be able to hear that and make adjustments in the studio, because that's what people are listening on.
Right.
It's like they're not listening on this, obviously.
Right.
It's headphones.
Well, like Chris
Bluetooth
Thorpe and Michael
speakers.
Brower still, they got their little boom boxes from like the early 90s
Right.
that they're still mixing.
Yeah, and it's cool just to be like, all right, boom, it's always on, and just
Yeah.
hear it immediately. And it's you get it in the back of the room, like how you're kind of normal chilling,
Right,
like
yeah.
not paying attention
Right.
specifically, but you kind of hear those weird resonant frequencies.
Where did you get that, and what's it called?
Amazon. It is an Aventry something or another.
Aventry
Aventry.
Bluetooth transmitter.
Yes.
Sweet.
And it just
A little
It takes
like
optical and mini
Yeah.
jack.
love that. Yeah. So X-Desk, we're doing our summing on here, so it's 16 channels of SSL summing.
Wait, hold on.
Wait, yeah,
Yeah.
let me talk. Can I talk about the
Oh, of
overall
course.
theory behind all of
Yeah,
this?
because I just looked at this and I was like, this is Mackie Mixer. So fill me in.
So okay. So the overall, and this is what we talked about as we were building the studio, is wanting it to be as hybrid as we possibly can. We wanted to sum analog because we hear a difference.
Yeah.
There's a huge debate on that. We had a different summing
like
mixer. We went all in the box for a while, and then we were like, we need it back. And so the X-Desk was our solution to that. We have some other outboard stuff we can patch, but that 16-channel summing, also monitoring.
It's got FX returns.
So it's kind of like a monitor section of a console.
It is.
Right.
With some output
Yeah.
Nice.
section. And you can run it in a couple different ways. We're using it all summing. In digital, in mono, like it's just like here, but in analog mono, it's like actually here.
Yeah.
I probably
So,
can't explain the theory to it right
These
now.
two channels are panned mono, so drums usually end up here, guitars, whatever, keys, bass, lead vocal, and then up here are the other 8 channels
Right.
that come in. And then they also have the pan. And what is kind of, if you have done any live mixing, or if you're old enough to remember the Mackie 32.8 board, which is kind of ubiquitous 20 years ago, but they had a mix B section that you
Okay.
could totally send a whole stereo mix out. And mostly it was a live board, but I know a lot of 90s records were recorded on those boards, but this has that too. And so DB25 from our interface, 16 channels into here, come out, we insert on the bus to our bus compressor.
We are on the Orion HD Antelope, which is connected to the Pro Tools HD native card. It's amazing. The conversion's amazing. It has a digital patch bay.
So it's 32
Oh, okay.
ins, 32 ins, 32 outs, single rack space.
Single rack, no fan.
Yeah, and that was a huge part of this too,
Right.
because of the digital patching, like you said.
So that was a total game changer. Yeah, so we have the the TK Audio PC1 THD, which is VCA style compressor that we use on our stereo bus. So we compress all of our mixes through it.
It's similar to the G comp.
Yeah, it's got an SSL
G comp-ish
style thing. It's a lot more transparent, and we have warm audio EQPs, which are tube equalizers, and they're modeled after classic Pultec. These live on our mix bus as well.
So we patch them digitally into,
like, as a plugin. They're on an insert.
after we
vocals.
sum, insert. So coming out of Pro Tools, 16 channels, insert, hits the compressor, goes back in to Pro Tools, and then we have our master chain, and then they just kind of, we drop them on our mix bus, and just a little top end, a little low end.
Yeah.
It's just overall more of like the analog console-y kind of feel to.
That's awesome.
But we can also patch them, if we're not doing that, we can patch them while we're tracking digitally, or just throw them on like a plugin in Pro Tools and hit it, you know, do some EQing, commit that track, take them off, put it back on.
The digital patch bay is crazy.
It's amazing.
It's super quick. You can do it either in line as you're recording, just dragging, and like, okay, so we want the warm 76 to hit our mono gamma preamp, and so we're compressing going in a little bit, and then we could drop it in as a plugin into Pro Tools and hit it again if we wanted to. It's just where in the signal chain do you want it. That's been fun. So, and then there's the warm audio 2A. It's the WA 2A. And again, just even tracking through stuff like that, not even putting it on, doing a little bit, kind of gets you a little further in the mix. It just adds a little bit of character to it too. Those always have a nice top end. And
then we have the 76 above that, and they're super affordable. These guys are up the street from us, which is awesome.
Wow.
So we've
That's right. They built a whole facility
they're
here.
building a new facility.
everything comes
but
out of
they've
here.
been in Liberty Hill. Like, I think that's where they started, which is like 30 or 40 minutes from here. Below that, actually, is another Texas company, FMR, and it's in this custom rack thing. So that's the RNP.
this guy down here.
And the RNC. So
really nice
stereo
preamp.
compressor and
That's what it's called.
really
nice
compressor.
preamp,
Really nice preamp.
Really nice compressor. So
Oh, that's
stereo,
right, yeah.
stereo preamp, stereo compressor. That was kind of some stuff I had that's just like stuck around.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have a whole lot. Mike definitely brought in more gear, and I've had just some stuff that. That's still, those pre's sound really great.
They do sound
And
really
the compressor is really cool too. It's weird how affordable that stuff is. But that guy's who does that's really nice, and he fixed it when it had that little issue, and I think he even charged us. I don't know.
No, he didn't charge
Yeah,
us.
it was.
Nice.
Yeah.
He like felt bad that it like took a week or something. He was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Thanks. Just got this DVX 160A,
Sweet.
which
Classic.
and then there's the lunchbox below that. So we got the Shadow Hills Mono Gamma, which is probably my personal favorite preamp. And if you really want, you know, something affordable, this company called Cappy makes these.
That's right.
API clones.
API stuff. I think that's the 312. I think sounds great. We use it on kick drum all the time.
Yeah.
It just does a thing.
It's a little faster.
The Avalon, the 737 channel strip. Two preamp, right? Two preamp. So I found it at a store called Switched On in Austin, which is like, they specialize in like vintage synthesizers and keyboards and all sorts of weird stuff, and they do a bunch of repairs. Then we have the 4-channel SSL XL
Alpha.
Logic Alpha Pres, which are really amazing. And then the UA 710.
I love the compressors on
The
them.
compressors are really useful.
Just smashing. I love to smash room mics.
Yeah.
Like maybe the
84.
just weird trash drum mics and stuff, and just kill them and just put them in there.
Record drums through this little PA mic sometimes.
Yeah, that guy.
Those are just trash.
Those-
Awesome. This headphone matrix, which Mackie made like 10 years ago.
So six individual mixes. We just wrote headphones extensions. We can actually, in through Pro Tools now, you can do
can
your
just-
mix on your phone.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you just get a hardline mix, just sync up to it, and mix your headphones on your by
It's
yourself.
super cool.
Whoa.
Yeah, reamp box.
Tapco.
This was kind of funny. Through COVID, lots of different people here have reached out from like high school, or they see, you know, we're still working. We've worked all the way through this.
Yeah.
Luckily enough, we've had like more business, and was working with a friend who actually got me into music and playing bass, and he reached out, and it's literally been like 20 years since we've talked.
Yeah.
And he has a really cool little setup, and he's an amazing musician, and so we've been working on his tunes. I still haven't even talked to him on the phone. We're texting, and we're like 8 songs deep into his stuff. Like we're playing drums and bass and keys and stuff on it and sending it back, and he texted me and was like, do you have any use for this stuff? And it was just like a picture of him looking in there, and so we like looked up, it's a Tabco 4400, and it's a 2-channel spring verb.
Oh, sweet.
And I've been like, I want some outboard
Yeah.
effects. There's just kind of intangible what they do. Plugins are great, but there's still something about like outboard effects. So that one's really cool. It's got, each channel has just a small little graphic EQ, and that's how you like mold the sound of the spring.
Yeah.
So, you know, taking out the top end and stuff and low, it's just gonna make it sound way bigger and longer, or just having just the top end is brighter and just like, and so that's just like, that's been some really kind of secret sauce stuff that we've been using. And we also bought this analog delay from him. It's got like a really good
Is that
slap
like
on
a
it.
mono one channel?
It actually comes out stereo. We're running it mono right now. My favorite part of it is literally just like the slap delay.
Yeah.
And just hitting it, coming back in, and recording that through a preamp into the session.
Nice.
And there's really minimal latency through that process. Sometimes tracking with the spring verb on and this on is really cool.
The backs of all this gear is going from like a XLR to D sub to the
Pretty
Orion.
much.
Is that right?
Yeah, so DB25 from the backs of the Pres and all this, and it's all going in here. So, and then also coming out of the X desk. So there's a lot of things happening in there.
Yeah, behind it.
It's that's where we keep the nightmare.
Which you custom built those.
Yeah, so these were I found these little things off of Craigslist. They were like hotel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were hotel dressers, and so I measured them. I was like, this is the perfect size. So all I did was I just added this piece of wood here, and I added rails, and we painted them, added these little details, and cut off the back. And there's like this little notch back here too.
I can't believe how well the dimensions were.
I know, it was like,
Yeah.
dude, it was amazing. I was like, and all I needed was like a 2x4, or maybe that's like I can't remember what the size of a piece of wood. It was like one piece of wood, I just got it in there, and then I was like, it's perfect.
That's awesome, dude.
It was just luck, and they were like, $50 or something. It's just the time it takes to look for it, think about it, how I can use it, how can I repurpose it, or how do we make it cool, and then you can do a lot. A lot of stuff can be found if you put in the time. So the stereo tape quarter 500A I got from a friend. I had it for years. I finally got it repaired. Apparently, like what they use to do basement tapes on, Bob Dylan's basement tapes. Well, it's just a little stereo recorder. So we have it to where you can send out, and right now it's not patched in, but you can send into it, hit the tape, come back in, or I was also using it just as a preamp. But then these mics that come with it, they sound really cool, really vibey.
Yeah.
Didn't you like find those on eBay?
I did. So I found that I didn't have the mics for it, so I had to find them. Working on like a kind of a folky session, we hit this with the mic, so using it, but then also taking the Pres out and recording those too. So we're hitting the tape, taking the output of the tape, and then taking the output of the Pres and recording that in as well.
Yeah.
And so the tape is like tapey and noisy and shit, and then the Pres are actually really cool, and these are very cool mics for, they're dynamic. Yeah, it's just like a fun little thing. You can hear it like in the room as I'm like messing. It's like whoosh, whoosh. It's just like all vibey. That's like, what do we want to do? So that's that thing, and
that's cool.
Dumping sometimes to tape, and you never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is a Yamaha CP20, and it's analog synth, similar to like a Whirly or a Rhodes. What we've used it a lot for is hitting guitar pedals,
Okay.
going to a guitar amp, giving it that sort of like its own thing, and that gives it that kind of like distortion-y sound to when you hit the harpsichord side. tremolo on it's cool. Korg M1, this is like, I also got this from my friend. It's the most 90s keyboard that's ever been created. Like, you go through the patches and you just hear like 90s songs after 90s songs. They like hardly did anything to them. So that's there for 90s stuff. We use a lot of in the box. We have a ton of software instruments, but if there's something that's not quite doing it, or if it's a little more specialized or weird, you can kind of dig through that thing. But even the drum sounds are kind of like,
Drum sounds are cool.
yeah, and either sample it or whatever. So these are specialized, the MIDI controller, software instruments we use for a lot of stuff. Reamping into the amp, we get a lot of cool vibe that way. It's just taking drums, throw it to the amp, taking you know, any of that stuff to really just give it some character versus just, you know, dry going in. And so we had a super reverb in here for a while, and we were doing stereo organ. So put one through the new vintage, one side, from the Nord, and then right side going to another amp, and then through it the Nord has the Leslie feature to where it's, you know, spinning around. And so we're miking up the amps, adding a little bit of saturation, distortion through there, and it's like, that sounds like a Leslie. It sounds cool, you know, it's versus just how it sounded plugged in. So.
Of course.
Mike's drums.
Is this a Ludwig?
It's a Ludwig 1967 super classic.
They sound great on like all genres.
Everything?
Yeah, it's
I
weird.
have other kits, like I have a DW collectors and some other stuff, but this just works.
This is what stays in here.
In my opinion, this is like the kit.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna have a kit that sits in a studio that'll work on everything,
Yep.
it's Gretsch or Ludwig this year with these dimensions, the 22 by 14 or 16, whatever that is, 16 and 13.
Yep.
That is
Nailed it.
money.
Yeah, it's so good. Again, Mike plays on a lot of the stuff, and tuning is he's just, that's so key.
Yeah.
And we're really lucky to have somebody who knows what that is and how to tune it to the room, how to tune it to the mics.
Yeah.
And those
the
drums
song.
are amazing. Like
Yeah.
it works for across the board. Like I mean, change the kick mic out, change the batter head, still works.
It's funny that this is a garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this floor is awesome. I can just tell that the drums sound great just because how this floor sounds with me stepping on it. It's not too small.
Right.
And it's not dead. Like the room I have is dead.
Yeah.
I made it as dead as can be. And then I was like, maybe I'll try to record some drums sometime, you know?
Yeah.
This would be a really great, it is, I'm sure, a phenomenal drum room.
Yeah, smashing the rooms, even like smashing them, delay them a little bit, and then it's like gets bigger. It's crazy. That was all just like kind of by design, but by a lot of hoping that this works out. You know, because I'm not an acoustician or whatever. It's like I read a ton. Like, okay, this is what I think I can do in my space.
Yeah.
This is how I can maximize this. And then Mike came in and I was like, okay, let's just, and I was,
Let's try it.
Cool, we can mix and record drums in here.
Yeah.
And works.
What kind of snare are you?
These days it's usually Black Beauty.
Yeah.
And then I just got a 60s Superphonic this year.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, you guys are good. I will choose a metal snare to my own detriment.
Yeah.
Because I like it more, even if it's not right for the song, I'll say, too bad. I like it more.
It feels good.
And then when I mix it, I'm like, man, this sounds so good, but I don't know if it's right, though.
Yeah. That's funny. This is Drum World right here.
Yeah.
And again, part of like the design, we can still have all these areas and still, this is like the tracking area. And so, you know, we'll bring out a rug, throw it down, but then in this part of the room, acoustics, or like we had our string section that was, you know, we pushed that back and they just kind of spanned this area, and we did, you know, like a Blumline room mic situation over here, and then just some overheads, and it just like ends up being enough room. You know, it's like just enough room to do pretty much anything we want to do.
And then these beautiful guitars and basses.
Yeah, this one, I get sidetracked and like everybody has little projects. So this one I built.
All right.
I pieced it together. So
Okay.
it's a Malone custom. I'm Eric Malone Harrison. So
cool.
that was just a
social?
joke for myself, mainly. I found the body on Craigslist and I was just like, I've always kind of wanted to make a bass. So, and I wanted a PJ for the studio. So found the body, just did some, distressing to it and whatever. These are DiMarzio PJ, really versatile. There's a nice top into them, so they can sound pretty modern, but also rolling the tone back. It just sounds like a great P bass as is. I kept the original bridge, changed the pots, they're like higher impedance pots. Found the neck, it's a Warmoth neck, roasted maple. It's heavy, but it sounds
great.
Really good. And I had a luthier put it together for me. I was like, here's the pieces. Please, I'm gonna set this up right,
Yeah,
I want that part to go good. What is this mic? This is like Mike's first bass or something.
That is my Spectre that I bought.
It actually sounds really good.
It sounds great.
Yeah.
It's got some active EMGs on it. It's super versatile tone-wise.
Strat.
That's the Spat Strat. The pickup, the humbucker's coil tapped on it, so that it can do single coil.
Sick.
That's the crazy metal junk guitar.
Sounds good, but
It sounds good.
looks
with
like
a lot of
1999.
We're not gonna pick it up.
We don't need to pick it up yet. We got the GNL Telecaster.
We do all kinds of music in here, so we needed something a little more. We needed a telly. We need that. Do some telly. It's actually it's warmer than like a normal telly is. It's cool. It's got like a little more balls to it. Fender P.
Oh, sweet.
That's
a good looking one.
Yeah, so it's got custom pick guard, brass flats on it. That's the flat bass. So then normal rounds on this guy. P bass sound, can add the jazz in there. This is what I play live in my band, but I also track with it a lot. Jack Cassidy, signature Epiphone, excellent bass. Just tonally, it really works. And like the mid-range in it and this little selector guy, it's note, a lot of note. And so those notes are what really cut through. And so it works on a lot of really versatile, and that's why I play it live. Semi-hollow P90s, Bigsby.
And the 339 next to it.
Yeah.
And then we have our junk Washburn acoustic.
This sounds
That
amazing.
sounds amazing. We don't know
Like
why.
recorded, it is exactly what you want out of like acoustic. It's crazy. It's like a $150 guitar. It plays really well, and it's loud, and it sounds just really good on a mic. Like it
we
puts it in a
haven't
mix,
bothered
and you're
getting
like,
another one.
That's my favorite description of a guitar. This is our junk, amazing sounding Washburn.
Yeah.
acoustic guitar.
yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It's the sound, and that's what just goes to show that just because something's expensive doesn't make it good,
Oh, yeah,
or doesn't
for
make
sure.
it work in the studio, or
Right.
doesn't just just because you're an amazing drummer doesn't mean you know how to play in a studio. It's
Oh,
like
gosh, yeah.
you really have to go through all of that to figure out how does it work here. Like an amazing live band is not an amazing studio band.
Yeah.
There's a lot of thought that can kind of go into it, or you just get lucky and you have a shitty guitar that sounds good. So.
Yeah.
This is at the end of the session when you want to extend some hours, maybe. Because once you open this up, everybody's like, yeah.
Spend some hours. I love that.
Yep, got wood blocks.
Claves. We did actually a lot of this yesterday.
Oh, we
This
have
is-
a rule.
Of course.
Everybody gets one vibroslab hitting the record.
Yeah. Maracas.
Smaller one. Triangle.
A little bike bell.
Yeah.
Try to get it to work.
That was anticlimactic.
I know.
We went like some really breathy stuff. We're like, oh no.
Did not work. It is.
But again, yeah, just trying to fit as much stuff and not be just cluttered as in here was key.
Yeah.
Just like
Oh, you're doing a great
want
job,
people
man.
to walk in and feel warm, comfortable, and ready to make music.
And now you guys are working together in this studio called 601.
Studio 601.
Studio 601 here in Austin, Texas. And you can book people, an artist, songwriter, and kind of provide everything that they need. Is that right?
Yeah, this is it. So, for instance, we're working with an artist, Scott Strickland, right now, and since like COVID hit, we've been working on his album, and it's a full-length album. So Mike's on drums on the songs that have acoustic drums on them. I'm playing bass on the songs that have acoustic bass on them, and Mike's playing like synth bass, or we're playing keys, doing some guitar. Scott plays guitar and sings, doing some background vocals, and then we'll bring in players because we've both been in Austin over 10 years, and playing out and also doing live sound. We both do live sound as well.
Oh, cool.
You just meet so many people, and I think that's huge. It's huge to have the skill set to do live sound, and when it comes back, I would definitely recommend doing it, because if you're trying to do at least something a studio commercially, you just meet so many people, and that's a huge thing. If you're just stuck in here, how are you going to meet but when you get to go and work with somebody or play with somebody, and they get the feel for you and how it is to be around you, because that's such a huge part of a studio, or like any just hang is just, can I hang out with this person in the same space for like 8 hours, and not just want to murder them. So that's been, I think, a big part of where our clientele comes from, a lot of word of mouth, and from one project to the next, it's just like, I heard this, can you do for me? And we're like, we can. And being in South Austin, there's so many good musicians around, like in this neighborhood, that will come and play just top tier, like horn section in here, easy. Yeah. Strings. Started as, let's be recording engineers.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, we are too much of musicians, and we're songwriters, and that just comes out, and it just becomes, that's what we kind of really do here, is that people come in, let's create, let's hear your songs, and then let's make this song a reality. Let's serve it. Let's that's the only thing that matters. At the end of the day, cool, gear, great. Right. Let's not even think about the gear anymore. Right. Doesn't matter. No, most musicians don't really care. Yeah. They want to know that it's good.
I care.
And
they want, can you turn me up?
Yeah, but that's like, at the end of the day,
just come in and we're like, check out this $3,000 microphone. They go, great. Can you make me sound good? Like, yeah, I guess that's yeah. But it's important. You need the right tools. Yeah. Yeah. But even Billie Eilish just got record of the year for making something in her brother's bedroom.
Yeah. That's how possible it is now. Yeah. So that's what we've consulted people on making their own stuff. Having their little setup, come here, do some the heavy lifting, go back, they track, and maybe they have like an Apollo and like a good mic, or we're like, this is the mic you want, or here's this worm, whatever. Yeah. We can get this for you, and you do that there, bring it back in here, let's mix it together in these space, let's use the tools we have. Yeah. And then I think that maybe yields a better product.
Where can people find you?
Studio601recording.com, and our handle on socials is usually Studio601ATX.
Yeah, do Instagram and Facebook.
Studio601ATX, is that right?
That's the handle. Yeah.
That's the handle, on Instagram.
All right, links in the description. Everybody go follow, check them out. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, man, this is a really great spot.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
All right, see you later, guys.
Bye.